All right, starting up the YouTube. All right, so we are live on the YouTube and Twitter now. Let me just recap our today command that we have over on Twitch. So we started in on the changes that require a rerun of all the models, right? You know, anything that would like alter the output of the benchmarking itself. So we're doing that part. That means that we're getting reasoning tokens, API time instead, like in addition to wall time, not instead of, and a full transcript of all reasoning and messages, right? So that'll be nice to have as part of the results and stuff. I think adding the reasoning was important. We still have two other major fixes, but I think what we have here is something that, like, the three things we got that I listed, those are going to go into like one open spec change. And then, yeah, we want to investigate a couple fixtures that basically nothing can pass. See what we can do about making that a better test. And then there's another thing where we want to refactor the concurrency a bit so that model parallelism is taken into account. That way we stop getting like rate limited, you know? But yeah, I feel like we're in a good place. So let's get started. And yes, free beanie list today because it is warm. And yeah, maybe I should have worn a black shirt. It'll be fine. Toasty! All right. And yeah, what's everyone up to? Oh, and yeah, I did really think that it was worth using ChatGPT for this one. All right. So yeah, OpenSpec apply is churning on Codex. Now we want to look at this Devon stuff, and yes, we wanted to accept that. Only 1,149 minutes thinking, guys. But yeah, how you doing, Albaben? What you up to? One thing that I'm finding interesting is that it's not really doing the auto commit. All right, so we do spec kit. I think implement, right? Hold on. Let me double check. Yep, we do want to do implement. It'll do the last steps there, and then we'll validate the success. What I'm feeling like is, yeah, SWE 1.6 isn't necessarily like the best model. I don't have any like measurements for that though. And yeah, man, the 200K token window, it does work through it fairly well. And yeah, like a lot of the tests it's doing are looking kind of right to me. Well, I just realized I may not have the Twitter chat set up right. If you tried to chat over there, I might not have seen it. But yeah, there we go. Okay. So phase 6, user story 4, completed. All tasks implemented. The search functionality is ready. 1. Yeah, do the commit hook. And yeah, dude, the max plan was not necessary. Dude, really not necessary. Whatever. Could be worse. All right, so yeah, story 5 kicking off. How's this? OpenSpec still churning. Sweet. You can kick off more cuneiform now. All right, so we're going to kick off the code review step for BMed. Okay, it's finally figuring out what it should be doing there. That one should be good there. I do like the accept edits mode. There's a lot less like individual things I gotta like go in and approve, but it seems like it's still limited to this directory, which I think OpenCode does really well too. All right, so that's setting up that stuff. We got 3 of these clankers churning at once. And we could even get another. I think the Masijo stuff could use more work. Okay, so we don't want that. We do want source components and source styles. Remove extra border from main menu dropdowns. So, yeah, I guess here's the big thing. We got the marketing site there. We'll start the marketing site here again. Okay, so then let's do this. Skills.sh design. So has anyone used any of these like design skills? Oh, this is like the full suite. Wait, what was the one I just? Oh yeah. UI UX Pro Max. 1,400 skills. Come on. You're going to try and tell me 1,400 of these actually have taste? I don't believe it. Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. Okay, so this is well maintained at least. Wait, what? Oh, interesting. Oh, this is awesome. There's a pro version. What? Yeah, that seems some real like snake oil bullshit to me. Big prompt hub. What? Okay, so there's a couple skills we can look at. Let me get more music going. Let's do something chill. And hey, what's up, War? How you doing? I'm doing well. It's just a bit warm right now. It's warm where you're at, too? Yeah, dude. Not good. All right, let's see how these guys are doing. And what up, Kenny? Eh, it's actually kind of reasonable. It's 28.3 in this room right now. So it's like low 80s or whatever. '83. Ooh, tomorrow we get overcast again. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. 87 where you're at? Yeah, not ideal. But dude, rainy tomorrow? Oh, that sounds perfect. Oh, I hope it cools off like by tonight. That would be ideal. Which it looks like it will. Monday and Tuesday get warm again, though. Wait, what days are Cascadia? June 1st and 2nd. Is that Monday, Tuesday? It is Monday, Tuesday. Let me double check. Yep. All right. Cool. Wonder if they're gonna have like a kickoff on Sunday night. Yeah, networking mixer. What day is that? Where's the schedule? Okay, so tomorrow they have their hackathon thing. I'm not making it to that. The hacker trains, sure. The welcome reception is Sunday night. Yeah, okay. So I'll end up going to that. And what up, Mert? How you doing? Oh, interesting. Matt Billman doing the keynote? Who's emceeing this year? Probably just Carter. The video playing thing? Yeah, the key is you need to grab the first frame and have that as a static image first, and then the video can lazy load. So there's a little bit of like swapping and magic to do if you want to do it right, which is always fun. Damn, Eric. Keynoting. Good job, buddy. Some of these talks seem a little bullshitty. No offense. No, I have not tried Opus 4.8. I canceled my Claude subscription. I don't remember what day that fully ends. I just wasn't getting a lot of value out of it. Theo's closing out the last day. Makes sense. Oh, damn. It's going to be at Rockbox on Tuesday night. That'll be cool. Yeah. Should be a good event. Yeah, should be good. All right. How's the models doing though? Let me double check these. So then we want to continue that one. This requires some action. No, do not proceed. Oh, and it looks like we actually already committed that part. Yes, this is not the part that I thought it was, which is fine. And what up, Ethan? How you doing? You looking forward to PoE 2 dropping tomorrow night? Won't be able to play till next week? Oh, that's no good. And what up, WebDev2? How you doing? Okay, so here's what we'll do. Let's archive this OpenSpec change. And what up, chatting? How you doing? Checking out BMAD? It's okay. I think it's a little meh. I'm currently, like, it depends on what you're doing. BMAD is really good if you want to start from scratch. If you don't want to start from scratch, like if you're on like a brownfield app, I would highly consider OpenSpec and SpecKit so far. And what's up, Standard? Are you going to Cascadia this year? Likely not. No worries. There's the Mixer on Sunday night. Could be fun. You're on call next week for a few days? No, it makes sense. Sunday night, though. Nice. All right, sync the specs. Spec Kit, it's the one from GitHub. Now, keep in mind, they are token heavy, but it's nice to like just define a specification. I'm currently only using Spec Kit with Devon and their SWE 1.6 model, so I'm really not getting charged much. I could imagine it burning through Claude tokens. I don't know for sure, right? Like, what I would do is try and give it a shot and see what you can do, right? I mean, worst case scenario, you try it, burns too many tokens, you deal with it. Hell yeah. I mean, subscription tokens should be fine if you're using it inside of Claude Code. So just throwing that out there. Technically, businesses shouldn't be buying subscription tokens, though. All right, and then how's cuneiform? We got choices for cuneiform. Yeah, their rules are so stupid. Always secure. Um. Oh, wait. Right. All right. So we want 1B there. Registration leaks email existence via 409 email exists. Ooh. I think A is the right way to go. How are the limits of the $20 codex plan? It's pretty rare that I end up hitting them, but I don't use it as my main driver, right? So right here, this is DeepSeek V4 Pro via Olama, right? Their cloud. I pretty much only reach for codecs when there's something like smarter I want it to handle. Just to be sure, you know? So we're going to add the fixtures. We're going to add the README and contributing. Okay. Okay, so yeah, what is our fix here? fine tune. Hold on. This is fix, fine tune. And yeah, what up, Casdev? Okay, so you can see the fan blowing? Yeah. It's pretty warm. Yeah, this room is 28.5 degrees Celsius right now, which is like 83. And it's about 80 outside. That is at least the nice part, because this room has all these computers and shit. The weather blowing in from outside is almost always a little cooler. So that, like, relative temperature definitely gets you a bit. You've had a heat wave in the UK as well? Oof. Yeah, dude. I hate it. Fucking temperature bullshit. But okay, so we updated GitBench. Theoretically, this is now done. Highest temperatures in May ever recorded. I feel like we had that back in like, dude, we had like an 80-degree day in like February or some shit like that. Or like, dude, it was just too hot in February. It was really bad. So I think we'll use Codex for this one. We do need to update, sure. All right, so yeah. See how this feels about it. Combos, I think will be fine. So yeah, just a recap of what all we got going right now. When we run our benchmarks in GitBench, what we end up seeing is that it'll run the none effort model, the low effort model, Like, if we have a concurrency of, let's say, 4 models, it'll actually be running all of the same like efforts per model. And that doesn't help us because we still hit rate limits at those providers. So what we end up needing to do is the model concurrency should only be for specific models, maybe. We might be able to do it by provider. Hopefully it asks us a couple good questions here. Yep. Yep. Okay, so yeah, this is the way they're trying to like reason about this. Yeah, so the first thing is yes, make model workers apply to model capacity groups. Oh, yeah, hold on. No, I think we need the provider groups to be scoped to a provider itself because GPT 5.4 and GPT 5.5 would have the same rate limiting quota and hit limits theoretically if run in parallel. Yeah, so grouping by base model is too fine-grained. One thing to remember is that we are currently keeping most models in the open router provider in our config. So we can't use that as a grouping. The model name should be used for thing. Yeah, exactly. So provider open router is actually transport. Yep. Oh, right. So then within the concurrency groups, we could do that. I like the direction of this, but I would love for it to be inferable. Right? Other transport providers may need the explicit config. If you leak my key, I'm going to be so pissed. Yeah. We know you checked GitBench.json, you fucking jerk. So yeah, that's going to be my next fix. We're going to use a .env file for our key and move it out of our GitBench JSON file because it's just not necessary in there. And then the GitBench JSON can just have a prop for the environment variable that we should be using for that provider, right? And then that's like how that lookup works. So let's at least put that in our config change. And what up, Unicos? How you doing? All right, so we should move keys. And yeah, this is another major reason why I like the beanie. The beanie keeps the hair from just fucking like itching my whole fucking face when it's windy. It's like, dude, right here, I'm gonna rub myself raw just from like dealing with the goddamn hair. Because my hair is just too light after shampooing, man. Like, it's just too light. Too thin. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah. And I know, free beanie list, Noah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, this room is 28.6, which is like 83, maybe 84. All right, so there we go. You just got a new bed with a 10-year warranty? Nice. It's pretty good. You can barely lift it. There you go. You're getting used to GitHub? What does that mean? You mean just like Git in general? You're doing a Unity project. You made a triangle and a background. You had like 10 commits in the first week. What is Open Router? It's a place that routes, like you send a request to Open Router saying what model you want to use, and then they will help decide which provider of that model they should call out to. So for Anthropic and OpenAI, yeah, you just call out to them. But for DeepSeek, dude, DeepSeek can be hosted in a lot of places. Minimax could be hosted in a lot of places. So they route between these models for you, to prevent getting like rate limited and to also maybe optimize for cost or speed, things like that. Oh, so our max effort might not have been used. There is an Opus 4.8. We haven't run it or tested it yet. I don't know. Okay. Open Code Go took your $10 for the sub, and you didn't even notice because you haven't used it in like a week. What do you mean by took your $10? Yeah, I get that. I understand Open Code Go subscription. I still don't understand what you mean by took your $10. Like, you're just saying, like, you paid them money and you're using their service? It's on auto renew. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. I I'm curious why that's a surprise. Oh, yeah, that's how subscriptions work. That's how all subscriptions work, dude. That's what they bank on. That's why they do the subscription model. You know? All right, open spec. Propose. Do it. Make it happen. Hold on, we're skipping this song. Just a minute and a half of some bullshit. Ooh. Did camera glitch on us, though? Oh, did camera turn off? Oh, camera overheated, didn't it? Yep, camera overheated. Give me a sec. 1 sec. Okay. Should be better. Time to switch to VTuber mode. There you go. We should get that back up and running. Remember when I did the Canadian? Do I still even have that? Hey guys. It's going off the wrong input though. Oh, my microphone's picking up my shit. Oh, yeah, and I don't have a good way of setting the sensitivity on the microphone. Hold on, let me check one thing. Oh, I don't have a sensitivity setting. That would be smart. Okay, yeah, so I don't know. No, I have not tried Opus 4.8 yet. I canceled my Claude. We will get it into GitBench here at some point, but we just are not at a good point to rerun GitBench while we're currently like changing some of this. Trying out SpecKit now? Nice. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. OpenSpec is another good one as well. You know, but I'd say like give both of them a try for like maybe even the same task and just see if you like the process that they take you through. I think my biggest problem with SpecKit is it doesn't ask me enough questions before it's like, yep, I got it, we're good. Whereas at least like OpenSpec kind of does more of a Q&A. But I think you could probably like prompt it better to do more discovery. There's got to be a way. I don't know it yet. But okay, so we relaunch Codex here. Oh, and actually, no, we don't. All right. So yeah, new made 73 months. It is the 21st prime. It is a mirror prime. In binary, it is a palindrome. It's a happy number, and its digits are prime. Wait, what does happy number mean specifically? That all of its digits are prime too? Isn't that required? I guess not always. 79's a prime, right? I think. Yes, never mind. Oh. Interesting. That's a fun one. Yeah, here's actually the biggest thing why like I consider SpecKit and OpenSpec and some of these other tools really useful because all of their like context and all the shit gets saved out to like artifacts, and those artifacts are then portable between all of these other tools. So you could really start farming out. Well, okay, we did the planning with the expensive model. Now let's just turn it loose with a cheaper model for the implementation or something, right? Or yeah, we did it. Now let's do a review step, right? Like BMed kind of does. I think those have a lot of value. Like just being able to switch model has some major like wins. All right, so then how's Devin doing? All right, so now they're saying the site is ready. Yep. So they committed, they did all that. So now, will it blend? What? Yeah, so I really do think SWE16 is not a great model so far. Damn right, I'm frustrated. So here's something interesting. The frustrated message actually overrides the plan mode. We're still working on GitBench in the background, but right now we're trying to see like, well, um, one of the people from Devon gave me a $200 coupon code, so I figured I'd give the Max plan a try and give Devon a shot. And we're using a thing called Spec Kit with Devon just to test it. Their SWE 1.6 fast model is very fast, which is cool. But it's not necessarily a smart model. Like we should be doing our planning with a much smarter model, I think. But yeah, we're still kind of like going down this path of like, well, what do I like about some of these orchestration tools and what do I not like? Yeah, yeah. Hold on. What's that even from? I know it's from something. It's probably a joke that's been done to death. It's like, are you any good at math? Oh, I'm very fast at math. All right. What's this times this? Oh, obviously 1,479. That's not even close, but it was fast, wasn't it? You know, like it's from something. I don't remember what it's from, right? But yeah, how are you doing today? Woke up from a power nap, ready to code some stuff. Nice. Interesting. So here's the thing, like the card works, but it's not good. Yeah, so we have a lot of hand holding to do. The SWE 1.6 really needs like strong instruction, which I find interesting. Yeah, we're using AI right now. We've got like 3 things going at once. Here's at least one you can check out. It could be broken. Broken. Noah, am I getting a new beanie? What? I'm just not wearing a beanie right now because it's hot. I have a shitload of beanies, dude. Mm-hmm. Now, what I need to start doing is start selling my own beanies, right? Mr. Sir Clothing beanies? We should do that. The problem is, I want to do like good beanies. No, I wouldn't want to be in Foot Locker, but get me into a Zoomies and we're good, man. But yeah, it's something I need to do for sure. We're not there yet. So here's my next thought, right? Like, what other skills do we have? Um, we do have the front end design one. Hold on. We probably still want to do this. Let me commit what we got. All right, so we do that. I've got two main things I want to do, actually, though, right? So the one I'm looking for must be plan. No, it's specify. I wanted specify. Okay, so yeah, we do specify first. All right, so I want to pretty up the site. That means a clean, consistent header. That means oh, and today was your first run of your automatic stand-up Slack bot. Worked pretty good. Don't need to manually generate what you did in GitHub or Linear anymore. Nice. I feel like Slack bots are one thing, and maybe it works for the rest of the team, and that's cool. But you could also end up doing something like just like a local like automation, right? So yeah, like think about other things that you could just automate on like a cron job locally, and then using like browser or desktop automation to like submit it. That might be kind of fun. All right, what is this song? It's trying to put us to sleep. How dare they? So here's my thing. My thought is that we probably always need to do a clarify. I guess maybe it's fine. Right? So then we do the plan. Yeah, there's probably way more you could do with a Slack bot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like I could understand why they'd be strict on bots because like the wrong kind of bot could exfiltrate all data from Slack, you know? Like, dude, that could be gnarly. And yeah, this album's trying to put us to sleep. We pick a new one. Okay, so we did tasks, we did all that. Now it's just implement. Okay, so yeah, that one burning along. They're saying this one's ready to archive. Capacity aware concurrency. Okay. When I forgot to archive the other thing. Am I the creator of C++? Why do you say that? Do I have his hairline? Sounds about right. Ooh, we've only got 25% left of our 5-hour limit with OpenAI at the moment. So yeah, I do hit my 5-hour limit somewhat frequently with the $20 plan. Not like somewhat frequently, but like I'm doing more work with it right now than I have in ages. So that's like, I think, part of the main issue there. But hey, looks like the psoriasis is finally clearing up a bit. Still a bit scaly, but I've seen worse. Not too worried about it. Yeah, I'd say we're fine. Sync now. So I might need to switch to DeepSeek for this next change, but it should be a pretty easy change. It's going to require that we change our envvar anyway. So while that's happening, let me head over to OpenRouter. Oh, and that's right, I did add $100. So yeah, we could just run the full fucking suite again. And what up, Small Knight? Good morning to everyone except Opus and its conniving benchmark behavior. We haven't had a chance to run it yet. But damn, on this key, we spent $92. So yeah, we disable that one. We still want to be able to like check the usage values. Just, you know, for reasons. Yeah, we looked at the deep SWE thing. Someone actually mentioned it like the day it came out. We saw it a day before Theo, man. Or we probably saw it the same day Theo saw it, but like, you know, we saw it and could have made content a day before Theo did. Which wouldn't matter. Like, it's not like we would compete for any of the audience. But it was funny that someone shared it. I didn't even notice that they shared it until I think after they had left, though. So I don't remember who I need to thank for that. Is this open code? No, this right here is Codex. We have Devin over here, which we can accept edits mode for. We have, let's see, what is Cuneiform running in? Cuneiform's running in Pi. And yeah, we'll at least fix those patches right now. Open code's fine. It's just, especially for this tool, right? Like we're trying Devin just for the sake of trying Devin because someone gave us credits. You know, so technically sponsored content, but it's not like I'm making a bunch of money and, you know, they're not giving me enough to not do a fucking tear down if it sucks, right? So far, I like Devin as like the editor. You know, its tool calling seems pretty solid. It is a fairly stupid model, right? The SWE 1.6, but we could theoretically be doing our planning with a smarter model and then just do the implementation with a stupider one, right? Like setting up the validation steps with a smarter model and then just creating the implementation steps with, you know, the cheaper one. that would probably be the right way to go. I wish they had SWE 1.6 on like artificial analysis, or at the bare minimum had a way for it to like be API testable, because I don't necessarily want to test it through the harness. I want to test the model directly. You know, like I'd love to get SWE 1.6 into our GitBench results. And I'll reach out to the person that sent me the coupon code to see if there's something I could do about that. So yeah, I'll reach out to the person that reached out to me, because they are super cool and they're actually one of the DevRel people I've looked up to for a long time. They got like a little too deep into the crypto world, for my opinion, back in the day. So I think maybe that's why they haven't been in the cultural zeitgeist for a while. I don't necessarily want to name them, but if you can really think about a prominent DevRel that kind of went a little too deep into crypto, you probably know who I'm talking about. He's a nice dude, right? Like, this is not me talking shit whatsoever. No, I'm just not a huge fan of the crypto bro stuff. And I just realized, hold on, I don't even know if I said your name. I may have said Vito, but is it Vitoy instead? Let me know how to pronounce that better. Exactly, Small Knight. Yeah, for sure, man. Like, the ideas are interesting. I like the idea of blockchain. I like the idea, like, I even still think NFTs could probably have like an interesting use case, right? But so far, none of the implementations we've seen have lended themselves to it, right? Like, you know, blockchain is a really good use case for something like decentralized identity and some of that stuff. Part of the problem is most decentralized identity ends up just being centralized on something else, right? So they haven't necessarily like solved the problem yet. Yeah, as an idea, they're cool. The current implementations we've seen are garbo. Like, just fucking garbo. Yeah, I get that. The only way I would see an NFT having value is if you're actually like buying like fractional shares of art, you know? But technically, you can just buy fractional shares of art anyway and collect money off of like the rentals to, you know, to museums and stuff, or the rentals to galleries or whatever, right? You can still just buy fractional shares, but the NFTs would at least make it easier to transfer, which would be interesting. Easier to like track the value, things like that. Like, to me, just an NFT representing like a fractional share of something that you can buy and sell without needing a middleman is pretty interesting. You know, it's like shares without having to go through the stock market, or without having to go through a broker, which was like one of the biggest things that changed how the stock market works after the 90s. Wait, what is YTMND? I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. No. So Noah, that's what I'm saying. Like, using an NFT to represent basically like a share of something, right? But yeah, they get ruined by a lot of the fucking charlatans. Exactly. 1000%. Right? But yeah, as a share of ownership or something, man, like making that easily transferable is a cool idea. Like, just think about how much like regular people could start to diversify their investments and stuff, you know? Now the key is like, well, how do you prevent scams? And that's where the big problem is, right? Like, you'd still need some central thing auditing stuff and preventing tax evasion and blah blah blah, and like, you know, preventing scams, and like you would still need like a functioning FTC, right? All right, so we're gonna rerun code review for this one. And I just realized, yeah, we're using the same model for code review and for like other stuff. I'm fine with it at this point. Or did we regress on the homepage? What the fuck? Oh, I forgot we were running that. Okay. Hold on, let me double check. God damn it. All right, adding agent browser was necessary, I think. All right, Devin. We'll just commit it. Welcome back. So hold on. What do you mean updating? You mean what am I working on? Your word choice has just been a little odd today, man. Got it. All right, so we're making a shadcn neumorphism clone, and we're working on GitBench. Okay. Okay, so here we'll do this, and then there's like a major spec kit like thing we need to specify here, right? We ran into confusion by running pnpm dev from the root instead of a subdirectory. We should be using turbo repo to structure things and orchestrate. Yeah. Be using turbo repo to structure things and orchestrate app commands. we may need to change file structure to support it. I don't know if it's that exciting. I think there's a lot of fucking model fatigue at this point. Like, people are getting tired of just tiny, like, incremental updates. Right? The hype is wearing off. What I find strange is that these aren't alphabetical. Like, why are the spec kit skills not alphabetized? I mean, what ENV vars are we even gonna have? All right, turbo repos filtering allows precise targeting and is the standard approach for mono repos. I like C, naming conventions. I'm not so sure I care. Everything at once. B's fine. Sure, B's fine. So yeah, basically, if you're using spec kit after you do an implement or a specify, you should always do a clarify. And this is the part I was missing, right? This is the part that I had missed. So yeah, Ethan, if you're out there listening still, make sure you do the clarify after your specify, but before you're planning. So yeah, this is almost where I want to start scaffolding up a blog post about some of this BS. Let's do that. Oh, I didn't publish anything during 2024. Ooh, whoops. I think it's fine. All right, so this blog post will be AI planning tools.md. Right, so we'll at least create an outline here of just like basic thoughts. So, right, intro, and in fact, let's do it this way. AI planning tools. What do I mean by planning? Right? Plan mode. Night shift. What do we want to call this? Right? Grill me. Right. So then, skills, frameworks. Oop. Right. So BMed. GSD2. OpenSpec. And here's what we'll do. Oop. Right. So then, yeah, plan mode is like its own paragraph. Lighter approaches. right? Grill me, and yeah, plan mode. Right, so like we have the intro in which we want to like cover some of these things, but we don't need paragraphs or titles for. Then lighter approaches, plan mode. Then grill me. Yeah, I like this. All right. And then skills frameworks, open spec, spec kit. Paul is another. Find a good harness. I mean, no matter what, the harness is still going to be dependent upon the context that you give it, right? Even the best harness still needs more context than you may be giving. Yeah. Yeah, what I would say is like, I think some of these tools are going to end up needing like profiles. Like, oh, hey, open code. Yeah, I've got plan mode and, you know, normal mode, but what if I want to create like designer mode? And in designer mode, it has a totally separate set of like skills and context that it loads in. I think that would be the most useful thing. And as long as they're done in ways that you could take them to any harness, then fuck it. But I still think like maybe individual like agents within open code might be what you're looking for, Small Knight. Pi might be a good one too. My theory is that Pi is really what you're looking for. As just like a lightweight harness that you can use basically anything in. Now, if you're talking about like larger harnesses like T3 code or things like that, that's like a total extra step. Like that's a layer above, like just the base level harness. Right? Like basically don't think about T3 code as a harness. It's an orchestrator. And once you start understanding the difference between orchestrator and harness, it might make a little more sense. I don't know about that. I would say forking Claude code is a bad idea. You should be using the Pi SDK or the OpenCode SDK. I think forking closed source code is a terrible fucking idea. Now, they do have an SDK, but like, why would you use an SDK from a company that is notorious for being such a fucking like closed sandbox, you know? Yeah, I think the Claude SDK is a terrible fucking idea. Don't do it. You do not want vendor lock into that ecosystem. Yeah, at this point, it's just Pi SDK or OpenCode SDK. I wouldn't recommend building with any of the frontier model proprietary shit. If you're curious, though, right, like you can look at GSD2 as an example of what you can build with the Pi SDK. Yeah, I mean, I do not recommend it. And I'm not saying I recommend GSD2. I'm saying you could look at GSD2 and how they're using the Pi SDK. That might be worthwhile. I just, I would not use the Claude Code SDK. I do not trust it. If you're totally willing to be rug pulled, then go for it. But with all the fucking rug pulling they've been doing, like, fuck no, dude. You couldn't pay me to base my entire workflow off of some Claude bullshit. I'm sorry. Like, just the rug pulls are insane, man. And the model's actually pretty fucking stupid. Right? So, like, there's very few reasons I would ever use Claude at this point, unless they want to pay me, like, a lot of money. I'm not talking, like, how much would you pay me? How much would they pay me? They could pay me $350K a year, and I'd probably warm up to that shit a bit, right? It's crazy what money can do. I didn't even realize that's what you were talking about. I know there was a thing called Claude Code Router, but you should not be using that anymore, right? You do not need any of this shit. Use an open fucking harness, and you're done. Like, that's just it. That's it. Now, if you have to use Claude, then you have to use Claude Code. But why the fuck would you use Claude Code with another LLM? That's the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever heard. Because Claude Code is the stupidest harness on the market. Right? Like, with their own model, they perform worse than every other harness on the market. Do not use Claude Code with other models. Only use Claude Code if you're stuck with Claude because your company's paying for it. Because that's the only way to use it and still get the subscription. Now, technically, you guys might get rug pulled because businesses should not be using the subscriptions. They should be paying for API usage. I think that's in the TOS. So you got to be real careful of that one. That's what they're hoping for, dude. That is exactly what they're hoping for, Small Knight. Yeah. But yeah, due to terms of service, you are running a major risk using the subscriptions for Claude for business or enterprise work. They will start cracking down on that when they start running out of compute again. I'm just saying, like, dude. And it really does feel like you're using some outdated info. Like, I don't know anybody who's running Claude Code to connect to other models. I've never actually heard of that. I've never met a single person that does that. Now, for a while, maybe last year or the year before, yes, Claude Code Router, right, would allow you to connect up to Open Router. But that's when Claude Code was the only fucking game in town. They're not anymore. You should never use that shit again. All right, there are plenty of CLI harnesses that are better than Claude Code. If you're stuck with Claude Code, yeah, use it. But you're not if you're routing to another LLM. Yeah, see, that's, I don't know, dude. That's some fucking hyperbole. Yes, we've gone over this. I don't know if I want to argue about this again. Like, it's better than nothing. Just because they're benchmaxing doesn't mean the benchmarks are worthless. Right? Like, dude, are you going to blame GPU benchmark? Oh, well, GPUs are just optimizing for GPU benchmark numbers. Good. Like, what the fuck, man? What are you expecting them to do? Would you say you don't trust this kind of shit either? They could just be building straight towards these numbers. Good. Like, fuck, man. What do you expect? Benchmarks are necessary. Targeting the benchmark, yes, it makes the benchmark less useful. It still has value, though. I think the paranoia around, well, are they paying to like make their benchmarks better? They're paying to fucking train the shit to maybe work the benchmark better. Sure, man. Who gives a fuck? That's the point of the benchmarks. We want these things to get better at them. I just don't get the conspiracy theorist shit. What's up, Ashley? How you doing? Okay. All right, so we want to do an implement. All right, so now we are implementing the turbo repo stuff. Fuck yeah, dude. All right, I am going to use the restroom. It's 4 o'clock. I think we could hop into a beverage. And yeah, sorry, small night. Like, the conspiracy theory thing is a bit of a trigger for me, I guess, at this point. Because, like, what would you expect? Do you want to go back to the Wild West of, like, having no benchmarks? That makes no sense to me. So, yeah, like, I do get heated about, like, the conspiracy theorist benchmark bullshit. But BRB, let me go use the restroom, and I'll be right back. Okay, got my beverage. Soda. Oh, and that's probably plenty of whiskey. We're not getting crazy with it like we did a few days ago. I did forget the silly break screen. Okay, yeah. No, and I get that. Yeah, when you said analysis paralysis, I think I glossed over the message you had before it. So that's my bad. And I understand that. Like, the only way to do it, though, is to just, like, dive in and pick something. Like, perfect is the enemy of good in this case, in my opinion. Yeah, this is plenty. I forgot how crunchy this was. Maybe a little too crunchy. Yeah, I don't feel like listening to metal right now. Take it easy. Did we listen to this one yet today? I think we did. I don't remember. Oh, we did. Yeah. The word. I remember seeing the name of the first. Shit. Let's try this one. It's not the one I was remembering, but we'll see. And how you doing, ACN? I think this one's a bit crunchy too, but it's not quite like metal crunchy. But how is everyone doing today? Woo. Yeah, free beanieless. Today was great. Bit bummed with your GPU thermal situation. The manufacturer cheaped out. Oh, interesting. Is it something you could warranty, Alavo? All right, so small knight. Secure, accurate, cost effective, fast. Define what secure means. Do you mean sandboxing? Yeah, if you want sandboxing, you use a sandbox. So, yeah, secure is actually not a harness's concern. That's like you building your stuff up around it. And what you may want to consider is something like Just Bash. I will say Vercel is kind of leading the way on some of this open source shit. Like, pretty mind blowing. Right? Like, I fucking hate Vercel. Well, I just don't like Gizmo. But they are leading the way on some of this just like tooling around AI stuff. It's pretty genius. Right? Like the skills repo or like the skills like package and some of that stuff. So MCP skill stuff, those are at the harness layer. And V0's shit. I don't like V0. V0 fucking sucks. If you want to make a Next.js app, it's fine. But for anything else, fuck that shit. That's why Lovable sucks too. They can't even do an XJS app. Yeah, exactly. But okay, what was I gonna do here? Oh, yeah. So maybe like look at Flu as well. Like if you really, really, really want to control every little thing about it, Small Knight, do this. Oh, I see what you're saying. Small Knight. Yeah. No, so I think no matter what, at the end of the day, that pnpm install config minimum release age stuff, there are ways that you can do this, right? Like you can have git hooks that forbid modifying. I don't know. Let me put it this way. I've never seen the clanker try and get around any of that shit. I'm not sure what these people are doing that they're doing that, or how they're having this happen. I've never seen that, right? But maybe I'm just not prompting the right shit. I don't know. But yeah, Flu is interesting because you are setting up like the agent itself, right? So you could create these like micro workflows, spin them out into this, right? I think there's even a way for like doing the sandboxing, right? Yeah, so a coding agent in a remote sandbox. So boom, you can import Daytona as the sandbox tool. But I think whatever you're saying about security, you can be fixing this without AI, right? Like setting up these guardrails is just having a good set of fucking linting rules for the commits, like commit hooks, maybe, like a bunch of those things. Well, I mean, Small Knight, think about it this way. Not all RAM is ECC. A random bit flip could break everything. It's just an acceptable risk at some point. So here's the thing. You could look at the open code source code and see exactly what their system prompt is, what guardrails they're setting up to try and prevent these things from going crazy, right? Read through that, copy and paste it, make your own version, bam. Now you got your own fucking agents MD that you can copy and paste everywhere. Because that's all it ever is. It's just a message in the context. Whether it's the system prompt or whether it's your agents MD file, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just text in context. There is no elevation of privileges for one of these things, right? So that may be part of some of these problems, right? People may actually be conflicting between their agents MD and what's in some of their harnesses. And the models just go, well, I can't do it this way, I can't do it that way. User wants me to do it, I'll figure it out. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have answers for that as much. I think the security concerns are important, but if you're in a sandbox, what is the actual repercussion? You know? Like, you can always log the entire transcript of reasoning input output and the loops that has, and then just grep for some of these things that are terrible, right? So there are ways that you can set this up as just like part of your own checks and balances. I think that's what you're going to have to create. Right? Which means you're forever playing whack-a-mole. But at the end of the day, that's all you can do. And it's deterministic because you wrote a script that does it rather than letting an AI do it. Right? So just think about the things that you want to do that need to be deterministic and set those up as like outside validation steps, not things that the clanker needs to do. We are vibe coding a bit. We're also just like chatting and discussing. Well, I mean, number one, Stoned Python, you got to be very careful. If you want to release your game to Steam, you might not want to use any AI because a major portion of like players on Steam will refuse to play a game that uses AI. And if you lie about that disclosure, you can get your entire Steam account banned, right? So, I don't know. I don't think it's quite as interesting because you just can't do it if you want to make any money. Some of the bigger studios can get around it because they're the bigger studios, right? But no indie is going to be able to do that. Sure, small, and I think that's cool too, man. But really, like, no matter what, the AI is not deterministic and it never will be. So you need to create deterministic guardrails around it in CI/CD, in Git hooks, in whatever. And if you figure that out in a cool way, you could be onto something. Right? Like you could be really onto something with like a good open source repo. Like people hate Git hooks, but I think Git hooks are actually like in their time to shine now. Right? Because right? Like you're going to be running some of these things autonomously. It's going to be committing and like doing other shit for you. Git hooks are actually a perfect place to do that. They normally get in the way of devs, but for an AI, it's just validation for it to keep burning tokens and fixing things while you're doing other shit, right? So if you really want to embrace like autonomous dev, Git hooks are actually like kind of novel. Yes. So what I would recommend, small night, is check out skills.sh. This is a thing made by Vercel. You know, like I hate Triangle Man, but Triangle Company makes some cool shit. Right? I'm just not a fan of Gizmo. I've never met the dude, so I'm not sure. But I'm not a fan of Gizmo. 1 second, highlights. So what you would maybe do is let's check out one of these. Sure, web design principles. You know, if you look at this install process, it's npx skills add, and as long as the repo follows some kind of pattern, you can install that skill. So here, Vercel Labs agent skills is a bunch of shit, and then there's like a subdirectory for it. So depending on the one you linked, you may have to like use this skills library differently. But this thing then goes and optimizes for putting things in the right directories, right? So, do you want to install it globally? Well, yeah, we can do that. And then we just symlink into these like subdirectories in the project just to make sure that they're accessible. Because you do maybe still want to commit those so people understand what you're using. I think there should be some kind of like skills manifest file though. That part I don't remember as well. I thought there was a skills dot something, but now I don't remember where that was. Yeah. Some of these things do like, you know, discovery, but honestly, no. I see what you're saying. That's what I'm getting at. So, Small Knight, you're misunderstanding, right? Yes, Codex, Pi, OpenCode, all of these things have their own metadata directory. So when you're doing the skill stuff, here, let me just show you. Let me just run one. That way you understand. npx skills at latest add Matt Pocock /skills. Sure, right? When I run this, it's going to ask, all right, cool. It cloned the repo into a temporary directory. Which skills do we want to do? And oh god, the formatting. Okay, so this is a bad one. Hold on, let's do a different one. I know I just did some skills. Like, somewhat recently. Come on. npx skills add. Sure. All right, the copywriting one, right? npx skills add. And then boom. And then here, the skills thing asks us where we want to install it. So universally, it'll put it in .agents/skills because all of these tools support that. So Codex, OpenCode, right? Cursor, Gemini, Copilot, Kimi, all of these tools support the universal location for this stuff. And then, oh, you want to add it to Claude Code? Well, you can do that there. You can select some of these other things like Devin, Forge Code, right? And it'll create all these directories for you, right? Open hands, Pi, blah, blah, blah. From there, you can hit enter and then decide, do you want it global or project scoped? If you do global, sure, then you're still going to need to like symlink it local. Yes, you will be writing your own skills, guaranteed. But just remember, Small Knight, a skill is just text in the context of the clanker. It is up to the clanker to actually follow the directives in the skills. It is non-deterministic. You can do scripts. You can add scripts to a skill, sure. But again, whether the context actually runs that skill is still non-deterministic. That's why I think you need more deterministic things if you really, really want to be secure. Because no matter what, LLMs are non-deterministic. That's what the whole temperature value is for. You need something that doesn't have a temperature value. E.g., Git hooks. Right? So any scripting that you want to absolutely run and prevent bad commits from happening, that should be a Git hook more than anything. And yeah, skills just take up part of your context as like, you know, like overhead for your input, right? So it's not necessarily important. Well, Olavo, here's the big thing. The entire value of LLMs is that they are non-deterministic. That's the entire point to them. We want them to imagine things, to make connections that we wouldn't, right? That's like the way the brain works even. We want these things to be creative and make shit up. The moment you turn that off, dude, it's a fucking Markov chain. Yeah, we've had deterministic code gen for ages. Exactly. The whole point is the creativity aspect, which isn't actual creativity, but it's like as random as like the way our brain organizes like pathways, you know? But yes, so I do think, yes, skills are a thing you want, but if you want this to actually be secure, you need to set up guardrails that are truly deterministic, not things that are run by an LLM. And ion lights, like, I get it, additional burn tokens, but anything that's in the context as like a skill, like skills are pretty light as far as they sit in context until you use them. So the only thing, like if you have 50 skills, the only thing that's in your context automatically is the title and the description of the skill. It's really not that much. 50 skills should be way less than like 20,000 tokens. Like way less. 20K should not be breaking the bank as far as context goes in your usage of AI. And I'm talking like 50 fucking skills, right? I don't have that many. I don't know, Small Knight. Like, again, maybe, maybe not. From what you just described, the thing you linked, you could solve that problem with a Git hook and logging all context to a log file and then, basically grepping the log file. And that would be purely deterministic, right? You would see the whole like config thing. You would see all of this shit. So think about the problems you want to solve and figure out a deterministic solution to solve them. And then you're done. You don't need to work backwards. You're overcomplicating it. What do you want to do? Make it deterministic, and you're done. But that means going outside the LLM for this shit, which is kind of what you would get if you were building with Flu as well. Oh yeah, man, sure, right? We got Flu, we got the clanker, we got some shit we send to it and all that stuff, but you can add any other like validation steps in the middle. So if you don't want to do the Git hook thing, well yeah, build your own agent that does this shit, and then add the fucking validation step after. Like, add the validation steps as just code in what the fuck you want to do. This isn't rocket science, man. You are massively overcomplicating it. That decision paralysis is fucking you. Try shit, fail, move on. I think that's my biggest thing. Like, have you even downloaded and installed any of this shit yet? You haven't. That paralysis still has you. Right? All right, so as far as this stuff goes, let's double check it. Gone. All right, so then pnpm dev, let's see what we do here. No, and I get it, Small Knight, but like, I don't think you've tried them in the way that you would want to try them at work. Like, you don't need to put it onto a work project yet. Have a local project that you want to treat as absolutely secure as a work project, and then boom, you're off to the races. If you're changing the rules for work versus personal, that's where you're fucking up. Treat personal like work. Require all of the fucking security that you would expect. And build that. And you might have a really cool library on your hands. All right, so Ion Lights, if you're still out there, we're working on a thing called GitBench. That link is probably broken because we're in the middle of refactoring how our benchmarks run and some of that stuff. And, at least before I leave for the day, I want to kick off some more of this stuff. But we're also working on some other things just because I'm evaluating a bunch of shit. Oop. And what up, Glitch? How you doing? So yeah, greenfield focused. What we're doing is we're organizing some of my thoughts around some of these orchestration tools, just because I think it would make a decent blog post, but I want to get all this stuff into at least my outline for notes. That way I don't forget some of the shit later when I'm trying to like actually write the blog post. So yeah, greenfield focused, very agile. The all right, and yeah, the committee mode or whatever is hilarious. GSD. All right, so then one here. Right, GSD2 got to a point where it couldn't continue. Kept getting hung up on files not being what it expected. I believe that was it. I wish I'd taken a better note. Right, but then that brings us to brownfield focused. Right, open spec, and then let's see. Right, so broadly focused is then spec kit Paul. Right, need to run clarify after every specify. And yeah, what is the point? What do I mean by planning? Why? Context management, harness agnosticism. Sure. All right, so every time you see ngrok, it gives you flashbacks because your closest association with it is chastising developers that were using it to serve their shit on the open web without considering security. Yeah. Like, here's the big thing. It's like if you have it serve a directory instead that like doesn't have an index.html, you're opening up basically like an entire file explorer to the internet, right? Like, it's fucking gnarly. And then, theoretically, people could just, like, comb and look for, like, a .env file, right? I mean, Owen I believe in you, but dude, you're not a lead. You're not prepared for a lead role. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be really honest with you. You are not prepared for a lead role. I mean, feel free, get the practice, but I think you're shooting too high, dude. Front end, I think you'd be fine at. Front end lead, I'm sorry. No offense. You're way too early in your career for a lead role. For a front end lead role, they're going to have questions like, when was a time that you dealt with conflict in the workplace between two devs working under you, and how did you solve it? Do you have a single story like related to answering that kind of question? Yeah, no, you don't. That's my point. It's not even about skill as a dev. It's about, have you worked on enough teams to have dealt with the interpersonal dynamics of working on a team? And I don't think you have. I'm not trying to discourage you from applying, but dude, don't get your fucking hopes up. Like, that's all I'm saying. It's good practice, but yes, they will ask questions like that. All right, let me go grab some more ice cubes, and I will be right back. I will be right. And yeah, right? That's just one of the things they'll ask in a front end lead role, like interview. Another might be architecture shit. When is the right time to start adopting GraphQL? You know, what are some of the anti patterns of GraphQL? Like, dude, if you can't answer those, you're not a front end lead. Like, I just like the way I'd put it is front end lead is like just a step below senior. No matter what, as a senior, they're going to expect you to do like somewhat manager like things for junior devs anyway, right? Like, you know, a lot of the teams I've worked on, there was only one senior dev and the rest were fairly junior, right? On like smaller teams, you know? So yeah, just like really something to think about. Like a front end or an engineering lead may have seniors working under them. You know, how would you handle being the lead for someone who's technically a better dev than you? Have you ever dealt with that? That one's tough. So FP Jesta, like, I guess, what do you mean? Are you saying like when I've been a senior and I've had to have like juniors under me? Because that's really the only experience I have with that. I get it, Owen, and more power to you, man. If you get it, well, fuck, you got it, dude. When I was a junior working under a senior, I never really had much of that. Oh, title inflation's a thing. Covidio, title inflation has always been a thing. I know devs who were at an agency for 2 years that automatically got the senior title, just because they'll happily give you the senior title instead of a raise. Or they'll give you the senior title but a lower raise, you know? So yeah, title inflation's a thing too. But yeah, like, I don't know. I didn't work under any seniors. Yeah, I've pretty much never worked under a senior. Like, in general, I've been the senior. Even when I was a junior, I had already had, like, years of freelancing experience, which kind of, like, puts you above a junior who's never done any of that stuff. Because I understood the contract. I understood the client handoff. I understood, like, a lot of that shit, you know? Like, did I understand how to lead a team? Fuck no, and I had to learn that part. But as far as, like, working under a senior, like, no. Like, at the agency I was at, I was typically, like, you know, started out solo or working with a senior, but I wasn't under the senior. And, like, the way to think about it this way is, like, I was still basically, like, the front-end lead. Because they were more like the back-end person. Yeah, that sounds about right, Small Knight. So I worked at an agency, right? Like a creative agency. They did, you know, a bunch of like marketing sites, a bunch of bullshit. They specifically hired me because they had one WordPress site that they needed to have done within a week, and I knocked that shit out. But they had like a project coming down the pipeline that was a full-on like Angular JS, like massive application, right? Think like Fiverr competitor or TaskRabbit or whatever. And I built the fuck out of that shit. Angular JS 1.3, baby. And yeah, some of the shit I did there, ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. Yeah, I'm actually quite proud of it. And then, yeah, from there, they basically just like, after that project, they tossed me around from project to project because I was one of the only people at the agency that understood React, Angular, Vue, whatever, right? Because I didn't give a shit. Because I had already cut my chops on like Ember and Angular 1.1, which fucking sucked. I had done Meteor. I'd done like a bunch of JavaScript stuff. So then by that point, like jumping to React, jumping to Vue, jumping to Svelte is pretty simple. It's just syntax differences at the end of the day. Ooh, we haven't heard this album. Oh, yeah. Let's do that one. And did they salvage it? Not really. Yeah, that sounds about right. You remember there was a project where you burned like 300K of client budget and went massively off the rails because it was just 2 juniors and they only brought in the seniors in the last 4 weeks to try and salvage it. I mean, I crunched the numbers on that first project. It was a 750K thing. But you know how agencies actually burn that money? It's not actually software dev money. It's the blended rate. Well, yeah, no, you know, we don't bill you based upon like who's doing the work. We just bill you based upon like we are the agency and you're buying our time and we decide how to dole that out. What that means is they're going to have sprint planning, every fucking stand up with the client, as many fucking people as possible there because they can fucking multiply the hourly rate by every single fucking person in the room. So if they're charging $150 an hour, there's going to be 10 people in your sprint planning sessions. Yep. So yeah, like, dude. Yeah, I think my first role, they weren't paying me hourly, they were paying me salary. So it was like 75K a year, I think they signed me up at first. Which is basically what, like 37.50 an hour? If you do like divide by 2000. But if they're only making 150, then yeah, dude, you're eating like half of their bottom line. But yes, they massively make up for it by, well, no, technically, the dev might be making 30 an hour. But you know who makes even less? The project manager, the junior designer, the copywriter. All of these people sit in the meetings, though, because those are just billable hours, baby. Yeah, agencies have a weird fucking incentive structure. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They gate kept pay rises on certifications. I mean, are they paying for the cert though? Fuck it, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, get them to pay for the cert. If they weren't paying for the cert, that's fucking bullshit. Like, I could understand having a budget. They paid for the cert, but you couldn't use work hours to do the training? Oh, right. Dude, I fucking hate agencies. Dude, the whole billable or hour thing is bullshit. Ooh, we noticed, well, yeah, you're above the 40 hours. We kind of expect 50 from our workers. We want 40 billable hours. And we noticed that you didn't hit your 80%, like, you didn't hit your minimum 40, and you didn't hit your 80% or 80%, like, billable. Well, I hit my 40. I just didn't work 50 hours, because fuck you. Duh. Like, duh. No, I'm not going to work 50 hours. And it's like even stupider, right? Maybe you were paid by the hour. I was paid salary. If you're a salary employee, why the fuck do you give a shit about anything other than billable hours? You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. And yeah, you want that to be a bare minimum 40? Yeah, that's not how that works. I'll give you 35 and that's it. Cost per story point. Oh, fuck that. Yeah, yeah. Because then that just encourages people to gamify the fucking story point values. Like, so, okay, Small Knight, I understand why you're maybe a little conspiratorial about numbers at this point. Because, yeah, that's a benchmark that is bullshit. There are plenty of bullshit benchmarks. I just don't think the artificial analysis ones are. Yeah, here's the funniest part to me. Fuck, I forgot what they had me doing. They had me work on some kind of, like, ROI thing. God, I forget exactly what they had me work on. Their CFO created some fucking, like, app inside of a spreadsheet, basically, right? Because Excel is insane, right? You can do crazy shit with Excel. He wanted me to turn it into a web app. Okay, cool, no big deal. And I did it, and I thought I had it, and I'm pretty sure we were there. But when I went to then pressure the CFO, all right, now give me some numbers that I can plug into the formula and make sure I'm getting the right number out. And crickets. They were never able to do that. How the fuck is a CFO not able to give you example numbers that should calculate a certain way for fucking like test validation? Are you fucking kidding me? You're the fucking CFO. How can you not give me numbers? And like, numbers is your goddamn job, dude. Like, are you fucking kidding me? How are you not able to give me a set of fucking like, here's this value, here's that value, here's what we expect? What? You're the CFO. Like, dude, yeah. That was the craziest fucking part to me. That's when I knew that, okay, these guys are bullshitting. Whatever. It's funny to see him, like, you know, put on, like, a more professional veneer these days. But I bet it's still just as bullshitty. They are. Um, you could go check my LinkedIn if you're curious. I don't necessarily want to name them by name, but yeah, it's public data. Oh, oh, yeah, 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 exactly. Null it. Dude, hiring an agency is just burning money. It's a bad idea. It's a really fucking bad idea.
Dude, one of the worst ones. I actually enjoyed the project because it was gnarly. And like two senior engineers, right? Because I didn't technically even have the title of senior at the time. Like I had been there for maybe 3 or 4 years, sure. But two of the seniors at the time who were like headhunted, one of them was a fucking idiot, actually. Uh both of them saw this project and just passed. Then it came to me. I was getting paid by the hour, so I don't give a shit. Started working on it. And they basically, it was for boot camp grads and tracking their like job application process after the fact, right? Because like a lot of like boot camp grads, like, well, I did the boot camp and I didn't have a job. Well, did you put in the work? I did. Okay, what'd you do? And it's like, they didn't put in the work, right? They do the boot camp, then just like, money, please. That's not how that works, right? You need to send emails. You need to follow up with people, right? So it was a thing that was basically reinventing email. It was kind of fucking insane. This dude, yeah, it's story time. This dude, who I believe was a boot camp grad himself, or his wife was a boot camp grad from like God, one of those Seattle boot camps. I forget which one. Dude used his own money and paid some Russian devs to build the initial site. And while I'm doing this project, I get the repo, I start looking through the repo, and I see interesting commits as the most recent ones. If you were to flip it, it's like, like starting from the beginning, okay, reasonable, building stuff, and then like randomly like git commit. God, I hate this client. Some more reasonable stuff, and then, oof, I shouldn't code drunk. And then, like more messages pass, but less than the previous interval, and they just start going off the rails, right? They just go crazy. And I forgot a part before this. The story I had heard when they were handing me the project was, yeah, he had it worked on at a previous like company in Russia, and I guess the dev that was working on it disappeared to Southeast Asia and no one's ever heard of him again. Huh. Okay. So like I actually had this log of this dude's descent into madness. It was fucking awesome. It was fucking awesome. So yeah, that was fun. Anyway, yes, I'm working on this project. He's paying for this shit out of his own pocket, which is just bad startup idea. If you can't convince people to invest in it, how the fuck are you going to convince people to pay for it? Right? Like indie hackers do it all the time, sure. But in general, in business, if you can't convince investors, there's no way you can convince customers. It's just not going to happen. Right? So basically, yes, he's putting his own money into paying us by the hour to do this shit. And then towards the end of the project, like, keep in mind, the whole time he's been having his wife kind of like leading the project management stuff. And then all of a sudden, towards the end, who asked for this change? Your wife did. Well, I didn't approve it. Is this a scam or something? Like, dude, do you and your wife not talk? Why did you assign her as the project manager? So yeah, like, we basically just cut that contract immediately once dude started pushing back like that. His checks passed, as far as I know. But okay. Dude. Okay. Dude, SWE 1.6 is really not a good model. Here's the thing. I almost want to take every single one of these like steps that we've done with Devin and SWE 1.6, and I want to put it through like basically any other model. We could do it with DeepSeek and SpecKit, and I want to see like the result between SWE 1.6 and DeepSeek or anything, right? I really feel like DeepSeek would have gotten a bunch of this stuff. What are you saying, Ego? You're thinking SWE 1.6 is just going to get demolished here? Do we think that's maybe part of the reason why SWE 1.6 is not in any of the artificial analysis benchmarks? Right? Like, yeah, Devin's just not in here, man. Devin's not here, man. Right? SWE 1.6, yeah, not here, man. All right, so let me go use the restroom. I'll be right back. Gotta pee. Ooh, we can do the pee scene.
Saddle up, partner.
Okay. Oh, pipped, as in like performance improvement plan. Got it. Yeah. Ego. Now I get it. Yeah, for sure. Hey, so Devin, we've noticed that you've kind of fallen behind on the quality of your work. We're giving you a couple months' notice to try and improve it. And technically, that couple months' notice is time for us to try and find someone to replace you. Right? Because we all know that's what a PIP is actually for. It's to give the company time to replace you while you think you're safe. Hold on, let me double check one thing. Holy fuck. Okay, so basically, no matter what, it's going to take me like an hour to get into Seattle. I could drive for that hour, or I could take the train. I haven't taken the train yet, but I did top up the card. The fact that it's going to be basically the same length as driving is a thing. The big difference is the drive home is only going to be like 20 minutes. Meanwhile, the train home would still be an hour. That is a tougher decision to make. But okay, so all right, so UI components didn't work. Yeah. All right. All right. Oh, and our context is quickly filling up. Like, really not ideal. All right. Fucking clanker. Okay. All right. That's not so bad. All right. We click into button. Oh. Yeah, so at this point, it is seeming interesting to me that, like, I didn't realize how much Open Hands and Devin actually, like, overlapped. And it makes sense, right? Like, Devin was always, like, an autonomous agent running in someone else's shit, right? Open Hands copied that directly, which makes sense. I wonder if the Devin model has ever been capable, right? Like the entire like business case for Devin is not actually in their model. And I'm sure like or I'm not sure, but my guess is it's actually cost prohibitive for them to like keep building and customizing their own model when they could instead just be an orchestrator, right? Just be a cloud environment for agents. The same way OpenHands does. OpenHands doesn't even have their own model, right? Sure, they helped create DevStroll, but eh. So yeah, some of this stuff is even more curious to me. No, we got to do this fresh thing. Oh, wait, what? Start fresh. God, getting into Seattle is such a fucking nightmare at this time of day. All right, so hold on. We did after tasks, after plan, but we don't do after specify. We need to add that to our automatic hooks. All right, just double checking some of that. All right, so then, yeah, we do /spec kit again. We do clarify. God, yeah, the order in which these actually get listed is super weird, man. Public docs. All right, hold on. Wait, what's the question? As the spec focuses on, like, it doesn't show us the question. Enterprise scale requirements. Dude, it's not asking any questions. Like, motherfucker. These aren't questions. Like, dude. I want blocking validation. Fuck that, dude. Dude, I'm not sure any of the stuff it came up with is actually valid. Like, Dude, it is fast. It is a very fast framework. That is actually pretty cool. Yeah, so I think this is the biggest thing about SpecKit. It's actually bad at greenfielding. Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, so Ethan, if you're out there, I don't know if I still recommend SpecKit. I was kind of liking what it was doing and how it's going, but like, I don't know, maybe it's a model issue, but like, I just don't feel like I'm given enough input during the process. Like, I want the planning to be a back and forth. I don't want it to just like vomit out a bunch of plans and then have me like fine tune it. So yeah, I don't think I like SpecKit at this point. So far, OpenSpec is my favorite for brownfield stuff so far. I don't know if I have a favorite for greenfield yet. I do like the idea of BMAD, but we haven't validated if BMAD's actually doing anything good yet. Like, we just haven't seen cuneiform in production because it's just been such a secondary thing. Like, no matter what, and here's the crazy part, like, you can still only ship so much, like, good stuff at a time. Right? Like, hammering out code doesn't help if it's shit code, man. But you can prove the idea a little. All right, so we'll kick off implement here. Let's look at where we were at, where we left off with this. All right, so we archived benchmark detail table. Ooh, did I do this right now? We do want to add the README. For this one, I'm not 100% sold. We're going to compose these commits. Ooh, and it's getting to the point where, yes, I know I'm going to sit in traffic, but I won't be sitting in traffic on the way home. Just mean I got to find parking, though. Which is not ideal. But let's at least commit what we got. And I think we got a lot more to do for GitBench tomorrow. Oh, is it even going to be able to compose these? It's just for the stage stuff. Don't do it for the non-stage stuff. Ah, damn it. All right, so now I got to actually, like, do this shit myself? Let's try it one more time. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do it. Damn, so we're going to have to fucking write commits like a fucking caveman? All right, so yeah, it failed. Oh, man. All right, so we push it up, right? Our next actual step. I feel like we did this. And yes, I do want to do this, but this might be a good case. Like, yeah, we could do this with Codex tomorrow. Because our quota would have reset. And tomorrow can be a nice long stream because it's going to be a cooler day out. Ooh, buddy. It's a Friday. And I got nothing going on that night besides, PoE 2 releases tomorrow. So might do some of that tomorrow night. But yeah, this is probably a good moment for me to start wrapping up, figure out who we raid, because I do have a meetup to go to tonight, which is part of why I started a little earlier than normal. But tomorrow should be a nice long stream. Hopefully. We'll see. Depends on how much whiskey I drink. Actually, if anything, the whiskey makes the streams longer, doesn't it? So I think we're good. So who do we go raid? Who's actually streaming right now? Ooh, hold on. Wait. Oh, nope. Expanding beyond sentiment analysis. Oh, shit. Hold on. I didn't know Zed plays PoE too. Oh, shit, man. So, yeah, we're going to have to go game with him a bit. Like, at some point. But let's go raid the Code Drift. You know, it's nice when he's going when we end early because it's a good, easy raid. So yeah, thank you all for hanging out. We had a good day. We got a bunch done. I didn't go off the rails. We might have ranted a bit, but that's kind of the fun, right? And yeah, we definitely got stuff we want to do tomorrow. I think we may want to evaluate whether we should do LLM as judge. But I feel like deterministic tests are better. So I don't know about this one. I feel like the maybe there is a bit meh. But this will be the thing we do tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I think we also just kick off at least some of the cheaper models. Because the goal should be that once we've done this, we can hand it off to GitKraken free and clear. Like, I don't know if we'll actually be doing that much more dev on GitBench here on stream. I think it'll just be a GitKraken thing starting after tomorrow. So then, yeah, we got other projects that can act as our main projects, and we'll still have the command for GitBench, but we should be getting that hosted onto GitKraken here pretty soon. That'd be ideal, right? So yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. So we're going to go raid into the Code Drift. He is a solid dude. I haven't been back to SF since the fall, but next time I go, yeah, I'm going to go grab a drink. So let's go raid the Code Drift. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night.